I'm here today in Godalming in Surrey at LifeBook HQ with the lovely Kelly Wilson, who's come to us all the way from Alabama in the States. Very pleased to have you here today. It's a real treat for us to have a ghostwriter come and visit us.
Thank you. It's been a treat for me too.
So I thought we would just have a quick chat and wondered if you could start by telling us a little bit about your professional background.
Sure.
And about what drew you to reach out to LifeBook.
Okay. I am an educator by trade. I was an English teacher in public middle schools in Alabama for several years. And then when I became a mom, I stayed home with my children and homeschooled them. So for 13 years, I was involved in homeschooling all four of my children. And so I became a rather jack of all trades, just trying to run logistics and getting them to all the activities they were a part of. We're also part of a homeschool cooperative, and so I was very involved in that process as well. Time moves on, and I started looking for some opportunities to work from home so that I could continue working with my favorite students and also generate some income. And a little thought in the back of my mind had been reminders that for all of my life, I had been told I should try being a writer. I should write. And it was something I always pushed to the back burner because there was always too many other things that were pressing, and I didn't have an idea for the great American novel stirring in my head, and thought that that's where I needed to begin. Over ambitious from the beginning. And so I started looking online for some job opportunities and stumbled upon an ad for ghostwriting with LifeBook. And I began to read about what services you provide doing memoirs for families to preserve their legacy. And that triggered an interest immediately because it was something I wish that I had had for my own grandparents who passed away without me collecting the stories from them. And I thought, I wish I had known about LifeBook a long time ago. And to know that maybe I could have a shot at helping other people preserve their family stories to pass on would be very appealing. So I applied, and you guys were kind enough to take a chance on me. So now I am working on books 12, 13, and 14, and have had a blast working with you guys for the last 3 years. And I've learned so much about just fascinating people from all across the United States.
Well, it's been a real treat for us to work with you as well. As I was saying earlier, I think you are now our second most prolific ghostwriter in the States. So thank you for all the work that you put in. How did you find the process of coming into LifeBook Memoirs, learning what we do, how we do it, getting used to working with our authors? How was that process for you?
Well, the process was unique, I think, because there had been such a gap for me between the last time I had been out in the job market looking for work. So flashback to the year 2000, I was looking for my first teaching job after finishing university. And that meant literally pounding the pavement, going with my resume and a cover letter to schools and presenting myself and hoping to get to speak with a principal or an assistant principal and getting an interview that way. From beginning to end, everything with LifeBook has been remote. So today is the first day that you and I have met in person, and we've worked together for 3 years now. So the process of working remotely from home was very different and did take a while to get used to. But it gave me the flexibility and freedom to continue working from home and being with my children so that I could continue that part of life while also contributing meaningful income and meaningful work. The onboarding process was very easy. You guys gave me a sample interview to write up. And from there, we went through training online, and you guys provided me with all the materials that I needed and everything I could do right there in my office on my laptop. So it was quite an easy process. And then each different project team I've been a part of, the project manager has been fantastic to communicate with me and work with me on scheduling. I answer my questions, and the editors have given me fantastic feedback that have helped me grow tremendously as a writer. And I can see a huge difference in myself from the very first project I worked on to where I am now. And I would say that the LifeBook team has been a huge part of helping me grow and develop professionally.
It is such a collaborative process, and that distance between two colleagues can, in some situations, be a complicating factor. So it's wonderful to hear you say that. I wondered if there are any without naming names, whether there are any particular stories or authors who have moved you or whose life stories have stuck with you in some way?
There have been quite a few. When you're hearing these clients tell their stories, they're reflecting on 75, 85, 90 years of life well lived and giving you the wisdom that they've gained from all of that experience. So each different project I have worked on has taught me something. Seize the opportunity, take the risk, say what needs to be said to the people that matter to you. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of a new opportunity. You never know what it could lead to. And so just in general, principles about living life with purpose and intentionality has been a constant theme throughout each of the projects that I have worked on. And one of the projects I'm working on currently, they keep saying life is all about relationships. And that's a lesson I learned too late. And that client has challenged and encouraged me to make sure that I focus on the relationships that are important now versus recognizing that in my mid-80s, I've still got a lot of time to do something with it. There have been some that I have laughed out loud as I've listened to the stories, just imagining the scene and the experience they had, or others that I've been moved to tears. A recent project I worked on, the gentleman included the eulogy that he spoke at his wife's funeral. And it was the most beautifully touching, heartfelt tribute to his partner in life, who he had spent more than 60 years with. And so I'm wiping tears as I'm trying to complete the write-up, but it's impossible not to become personally attached to these people as they let you into their world and trust you with the most sacred thing they have, their life story.
And that all comes very naturally when you've got an author who is perhaps a born raconteur or a natural storyteller. How do you deal with it when you've got an author who perhaps is struggling to recall their memories or who isn't a born storyteller? How do you, as a ghostwriter, how do you tackle that?
Well, we record the things that we have and ask for more details on the things that we've done. There's a very interactive process that goes on between the interviewer, the ghostwriter, the client, and the editing team, because the process moves almost in a circuit. As the interviewer sends me recordings, I write up into chapters what I hear on the recordings, and then wherever there are gaps in the story or details that maybe weren't seen as necessary to the author, but are for the reader, I will just write questions right into the text. And then it moves through the editor, who will add their own queries. And then it goes back to the client, who is then able to fill in and provide us what we are needed to round out the story.
And what about what do you like most? What's your favorite aspect of working with LifeBook Memoirs and on these types of projects? What do you enjoy most?
Envisioning the future generations, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and sitting down on the couch, hopefully with the author as they flip through and they read the story together. But for those who never have the opportunity to know great-grandpa, great-grandma, but to see them finding out, oh, that's where I came from. Those are my people. Those are the values that define our family. And being able to bridge that gap between one generation and the ones next to come. I think our legacy is so important, and who we are is so shaped by where we come from. And so to help be a conduit of that in someone's life is a great honor.
It means a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Well, thank you ever so much again, Kelly, for making the long journey to Godalming and for all the work that you've done over the last 3 or 4 years with us.
Oh, it's been a delight. And I look forward to 3 or 4 more years and beyond of doing this with you guys as well.
As do we. Thank you very much.
Sure.